Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good to have you here. My name is Phil Dizon, and welcome to our live training session here today. We're part of the Win Group Wealth and Charity Network, and you're part of our Producers Engage webinar training today. Thanks to our partners at IWX for the invitation. And if you're also here as a part of our Win Group contacts, we appreciate you taking the time to join us out of your busy schedules. Anyway, ready to get into the topic today. We're joined by a special guest we're going to be introducing here shortly, but we're going to get into a little bit of why you're here. And I think the importance of setting up the conversation around Social Security. This is a heavy topic. And if you're an insurance agent, a financial advisor, working retirement age clients, I'm sure you're running into this. The issue around Social Security isn't going away. The Social Security, the issue with Social Security is only getting worse. In fact, when you think about and you think about the cost of living, you think about the potential rise in taxes. There's so many concerns that are into play right now in today's market, and so we're going to address some of that. What does that actually mean to be in this industry, to be a part of what we're about this, be a part of this conversation? And I can't have this conversation without my colleagues that'll be joining me here today. Ricky Villa, one of our success coaches here at the Winning Group, also Brett Riley, another success coach here with the Win Group. And again, special guest will be introducing here shortly. My name being Phil Dizon. All right, let's get into its income and Social Security demo. Forgot the Social Security part. What are the biggest fears right now in retirement, right? When you think about today's retiree, well, they're concerned about running out of money, right? It's not death, it's actually running out of money. And why are they concerned about it, right? Well, they lived all their lives saving up their money, getting to this stage in their lives where they're now ready to retire, and they don't know if they have enough to live on, right? And that's where you come in. But there are other things in play here when it comes to, well, what drives that fear? It's living longer. People are, with medicine, modern age of technology, statistics are showing people are living longer than they did, let's say, 50 years ago. People are, moving into the 80, 90. Soon we're going to be talking about, 100-year-old couples that's going to be the norm potentially one day in 10 or 15 years. So the risk of living too long is an issue. What are the other risks involved? Well, it could be the market driven, right? With the markets going up and down, we see some of the volatility right now in the marketplace. And you think about what that actually means, right? We are now living in a stage where most of the retirees that you're working with, they've lived through the dot-com crash. They lived through 2008. They lived through the most recent one, 2020. And the question is, can they live through another one? Maybe they've survived all those three because they were still working. Well, what happens when they retire? That steady
Right.
income now disappears, right? And then, of course, the big beautiful bill just recently, and it's not a bad thing why we're bringing this up. In fact, there are some good things that came out of it. Some of the tax cuts were permanent. They've introduced enhancements to the Social Security tax deduction, and now that also opens up more conversations around Roth conversions. Well, what's the other side of the coin? The challenges with that is that we're now estimating that it didn't address the Social Security fallout that's going to be happening by 2035. They're already estimating a 23% reduction as a result of that trust fund, that trust account that's actually created to set aside to pay all those benefits. It's about to get slashed here if they don't make some changes, right? So what can they do? Well, we always say nothing is permanent ever, right? It's an act of Congress, they say, can make a change. Even though we say the taxes are permanent, they can make changes. And how do you think they're going to make those changes? On top of the fact that we have trillions of debt out there, we have, and in fact, our national debt right now, 39. I mean, look at that, $39 trillion, right? It's massive, gigantic amount. So what's there left to do? Well, where do we think, what are they going to impact probably first? Do we see taxes going up or going down over time? Right? I think generally speaking, most people see that there's no way that they can keep taxes this low. We're going to see that impact maybe 10, 15 years down the road, maybe even sooner, right? So what's the answer, right? The answer for us is how do we optimize the Social Security? The problem is most Americans are claiming Social Security at the wrong time. There was a recent article that showed that only 4% of individuals are claiming Social Security at the most optimal time, meaning that they're leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table, right? In fact, it says here that on average per household, $111,000 is left on the table, all right? So we're addressing the problems, we're addressing the issues and concerns of Americans today. And that's where you come in, right? As an insurance advisor and an agent, why this topic that we're covering today is so important. Because the question is, how do you deliver a solution, right? And how do you do it in a way that solves not just turning income on, but allows them to maximize Social Security, right? And that's where I'm going to have Brett, one of our success coaches here, introduce our guest trainer on our call that will basically go over some really key concepts that you may not have heard before. In fact, a small percentage of the marketplace in the field have access to this, or they're actually using it to its fullest capacity. And that's why this message is so important and why we get to get out there. So, Brett, why don't you go and take it away? Introduce our next speaker and topic here.
Amazing. We're very lucky to have a great relationship with Nassau Re, who we're lucky to have Mr. Troy Briggs come join us and talk to us about this amazing free Social Security software that you're able to get just by simply getting a Nassau Re contract with us. What talk about a great value that I've seen already make an impact in appointments and lead to more annuity sales. So I'm really excited to introduce and dive into this with Mr. Troy Briggs.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys having me. And I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't share my screen and I'll get this thing rolling. Let's just see if we can pull it up. And let me see if I can get to my website. Can you guys see my website?
I
I do
can.
see it. And I'm going
That
to make
means
sure
I'm
I
going to,
acknowledge this real quickly.
yeah.
We do have a Q&A box at the bottom of our screen. So if any questions pop up, please make sure to type that question. And we'll be posting some messages here and there, links to certain websites where you can actually engage with us directly. We do have our producers engage. All of our webinars and all of our training events that we do are recorded, which includes today's event. So we're going to post a link to our YouTube channel. Make sure to follow that, our Instagram, socials. We want to make sure you're getting plugged in, that you don't miss a beat when it comes to any of the breaking news or information and topics that we're covering that could impact your practice in a positive way. So yeah, go ahead. Thanks, bro. I appreciate the Troy.
All right. Yeah, no worries. And I like you guys, even though you're Seattle Seahawk fans. It's okay. It's okay. And for the folks listening, I'm a huge New England Patriot fan, and you could hear the confidence with the way Brett just introduced me. He kind of like it just felt like it was like one of these like grinders right into the side. You know what I mean? But anywho, let's get going. So I don't do a deep dive in the website. I'm not going to do it right here right now because it's like watching paint dry sometimes when somebody is coming in and start doing all these different things. I got a couple of pieces I want to highlight. I'm going to get to the Social Security part just 1 second, but I think it's important to note that we got a great comp special underway on our index annuity products, a 0.5% if you write the business by the end of this month. And you got 60 days to get in, so you don't have to fund the contract. We do have a compensation special underway on all of our indexed annuity contracts. We hope that you can take advantage of that. And then I also would just have to talk to you a little bit about our elite producer program. So this is in addition to the comp special. We've got a lot of producers. The Win Group has producers that are a part of our elite program. It's just $2 million in production. You become elite with Nassau. You can earn extra compensation in the form of an annual bonus between 50 up to as much as 100 basis points. So it's a great program. We are about 200 people strong. They do about $800 million in business with us. So it's a significant group. If we can make you or help you become a part of our elite program, just let us know anything that we can do. That would be great. As it pertains, by the way, I talk fairly quickly, guys. So if I say something and you have a question, just stop me in my tracks. And I know we might do Q&A at the end, but just halt me and we can address them as they come up. Just as a quick snapshot of what we do here at Nassau, we're an annuity provider. We build products that you could take out in the marketplace and talk to people about income, growth. You want to talk about care protection? We've got products that can help you with that. We've got a lump sum death benefit product. So we do a lot of really good things. In fact, our sales mirror exactly what is sold out in the annuity business. In other words, 30% of the market's income, 40% growth, 20% MIGA. Our sales look the same. And so we think we've done a really good job of building a well-rounded portfolio that if you want to partner with Nassau, we think we could be a great partner of choice. One of the things that you'll get afterwards at the end of the call today from Phil and from the team is this digital resource guide. Again, I'm not going into it. This 2-page guide has hyperlinks that will take you out to any section inside of my website so that if you're looking for instant access to information to the products, rates, state availability, how to get trained, head over to our Social Security Hub, that's where I'm going next. Just know that you're going to have this, and it's very easy to use, and it will give you instant access to anything that you're going to see here today. So please know that that's there. Now, Phil teased this WebEx talking about Social Security, and we're grateful to have partnered with a company called Life Yield a couple years back, and it's a great software company that allows us to provide you all free. This is free of charge, a tool where if you're sitting down and talking to somebody about Social Security, how to take Social Security, when to take Social Security, create a plan for them to take Social Security, then we've got a tool for you that you can utilize for free that can help paint a picture for a person or for a couple on what is the best way for them to take Social Security and maximize the amount of dollars they can get out of the Social Security system. Now, a lot of times when you're dealing with a single person, obviously, the longer you wait, the more monies that you're going to get. So if you could delay taking Social Security to age 70, that is optimal. However, in situations where you've got, a couple where one is younger than the other, or you've got somebody who's earned more than the other, or maybe you're dealing with, someone who's got some disability, or you're working in, a divorce situation. There's a lot of different things that come up as it pertains to do with Social Security planning. And so this software can help you dial in for a person the best way it is for them to take Social Security in their retirement years. And I think the best thing that you can do is you can promote, you can talk, you can suggest ways in which you can get in front of them and help them plan to take Social Security. So again, it's a free software package that literally will walk you through the best way to take Social Security, whether it's for one or two individuals in spousal situations. To take it a step further, um, you could even produce yourselves reports for the clients that you're working with, and this is exactly what they look like. And what I recommend, by the way, is to go out and run one for yourself. The only thing that you would need to know to come on out to the Nassau website and run a Social Security analysis for yourself is to just know what your FRA is amount. What is your full retirement benefit going to be at age 67 for most of us on this call? Once you know what that full benefit retirement amount is at age 67, you can input that number into the software and start playing around with some of the numbers. I think that you would be astonished at what you're going to find, as it pertains to what you can get from the Social Security, report that you can build for yourself. If you don't know what that number is, by the way, you can go out to ss.gov, again, ss.gov, and actually get the actual number from the government, from the website, that you can then input into this software. So this is the exact report that you get back. There's a lot of information on this report, and so I'm not going to do a deep dive in it here today, but just know that, it's going to show you what your monthly benefits, your cumulative benefits are. It will show you what your crossover years are, depending upon your age. For many people in couple situations, and spousal situations, the crossover is right around age 77, 78. In other words, the longer you live past the age of 78, the more it may behoove you to wait before you start taking, benefits from Social Security. And so there are a lot of numbers in here. Again, I'm not doing a deep dive on this right now, but what you're going to do is you're going to find what your optimal strategy is going to be, what your custom strategy is going to be, and then you're going to take a look at the difference in the amount of dollars, income that you can drive from Social Security over your lifetime, the longer that you wait. Now, question comes up, and this is where we get into the annuities. The question comes up, well, I'm 63. I think, I've got longevity in my family. I think it does make sense for me to wait till age 67 or age 70 before I start taking Social Security benefits. I know it's a lot more money that I could drive out to me, but I'm ready to retire. Or I need a way to create an income stream for myself to help bridge the gap from point A to point B. And that's where our NASA Income Accelerator can come in. And that's the reason why we built the NASA Income Accelerator, which is really now our flagship guaranteed income product. So it's got levelized guaranteed income like of a lot of other annuities that you'll see out there in the marketplace. But we've got this rider on the front end that's a part of it if you want to choose. It's called the Flex Forward Rider, in which you literally can force more monies out early on from the annuity contract to help mimic Social Security payments or to create that early income stream where they might need extra monies from the annuity contract to maintain their lifestyle of living. And then at some point down the road, it will reduce and then pay a levelized amount to them each and every year for the rest of their life. We can tie in the NIA to the Social Security report. Now, I will tell you that if you don't want to tie in the NASA Income Accelerator to the Social Security report, you don't have to include it. But we can include it into the report so that you can show a person and create for them so they can see income layers. That is income layers that could show them, okay, this is how I'm going to get my income for the first couple of years, and then when the Social Security kicks on, that's what's going to happen for me. So again, it's a great way to show somebody what their situation may be, what it may look like, and there's a lot of numbers here, but it looks very professional, and you can produce these for folks, and I think it's a great way to open up conversations.
Troy, I'm gonna just jump in here real quick because I think just to make sure we're on the same page, why we're
Yep,
talking about the Social Security tool. Number one, this is a tool that you would normally have to pay for. It's a subscription-based software platform that
correct,
would run you north of $500 a year.
correct.
And through our partnership with NASA, you're able to actually use the Social Security optimization tool as a part of the recommendation process. And I think this is so important because a big part of I think what we get into is we get so focused on showing illustrations, and a lot of times, how are we validating why we're making a recommendation? And this sets up the conversation around the product that you're about to go over, which is the accelerator, which is
Yep.
showing how you can actually maximize, give the client the ability to push out their Social Security benefits and get and earn those credits so that they can get the max out by giving them an enhancement bonus in a way or a boost on their income on those front years. So I'm excited to get into it, but I just want to make sure I acknowledge that this tool is there's a huge value around this. When we say it's free.
And I also wanted to also emphasize, I know we have some other trainings we've done in the past where you can actually see how simple it is to toggle back and forth. You click one little button and it shows, hey, here's how the annuity would work in this scenario. And then
Right.
here's how it would work even if we're not necessarily showing the product. And then here we can just input a couple numbers here and it'll reshift how things look like on the fly. So it's
Yep.
not necessarily just a static, PDF exporting type of tool. It's literally something you can have up on the screen with the client as you're screen sharing on a call like we're doing here, which is something that I really love about it. And I didn't know if Troy, you wanted to take a little time. I know I posted a link in the chat that even before you get contracted with NASA, you guys have really good videos. Yeah, this is where I was talking about where you
Right
can,
on the website.
yep,
Yeah, and I was going to bring it right up right at this spot, Ricky. So it's
yeah,
perfect.
perfect.
Look, everybody, on the website, which is salesnet.nfg.com, right? So let's just salesnet.nfg.com. I know the team can get you the link. When you go out to the website and you come underneath quote, okay, what's great is you can get access to a lot of information that we have without having to put a username and password in. Once you start running these illustrations and quotes, you do need to register for the website. Very easy to do. Ricky, Brett, Phil, they can help you get registered, but you just go to start and then you go to account registration and you can register for the website. It's super easy. It is not hard whatsoever. But underneath quote, I just want to show you this. So underneath the life field for Social Security, this is where the quote system is set up at. This is where you can get access to life yield and start running, scenarios for people that you're working with. Well, I'm going to leave today, right? We're going to leave the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and be like, what the heck did he just talk about? It's all here for you. So I think that the videos do an excellent job. Here's an intro video. It's only 4 minutes long on running scenarios. If you want to watch a full WebEx, well, we have like again, we have these intro videos, but if you wanted to watch a full WebEx from the person who runs sales at Life Yield, we've got the full WebEx. It's 30 minutes long. But again, if you want to check that out, it's right here. It's at your fingertips. And then we have all of this, extra, other videos or extra information that really we're trying to make it easy for you to run this. But I will tell you that the best way to do it is to come in, get started, and run it on yourself. And as Ricky suggested, when you start running it on yourself, and then you can start toggling different scenarios, different layers, will actually shift for you and it will show you what the different scenarios look like. It's a live tool that where you can utilize and run, like I said, different examples. Does
Yeah,
that
and
make
what we
sense?
found too, I was going to say was what we found is that when you can really elevate the way that you can present Social Security and teach people and educate them and be that educator in the process of your sales process, it positions you to be able to start to be the person that's planning out their entire income story
Right,
because it starts with Social Security. So if you're the one that's helped them, the light bulb go off on the other side of like, wow, I didn't have anybody really ever show it to me this way where it's starting to make sense to me when I want to turn this on or maybe not want to turn it on. And then once they're kind of like glued to you because you were the one that helped them with that Social Security report, what we find is there's the Social Security is usually never enough. It's
right,
like, and so then that's where then you're now the next person they're going to want to be glued to again when they need some other stream of income. And that comes in the form of usually the lifetime income annuity, right? So it's like, if you just jump right to the annuity and you're not really talking about Social Security, they feel
right,
like there's something missing there, and there's
right,
this kind of pushback, right? So
right.
so that's why I love that you guys are providing this way to elevate what they're doing in their sales process on that end, because it's
Yeah,
just going to set them up for a much higher closing percentage on the
right.
annuity side. Yeah.
And the way we've created this bridge, right, and I'm going to show you a couple examples here in just a second, but the way we created the bridge from point A to point B, when Phil talks about jumping up your Social Security income by about 75%, it's exactly what we're doing because we're just taking an asset and we're mimicking or we're creating that income stream that they need for 3, 4, 5 years, and then once they turn that Social Security program on, a good chunk of that annuity stream continues to be paid out. And so you go from X amount of dollars to a lot more money coming out during your retirement years when you can maximize that Social Security. And it's a pretty slick program. So again, that's Life Yield underneath quote on the website. All that information is right here at your fingertips. Come on in and run it for yourself. I think you'll find it how you'll find it easy once you walk through your own situation story, and then I'll make you comfortable to go ahead and then take it out to the market to talk to somebody else about it. So the product is Nassau Income Accelerator. It's a levelized guaranteed income annuity, but we got this flex forward benefit. So again, as I said before, if you're just looking for levelized income, we can provide it for one or for two individuals as spousal situations. Right here, right? You all have seen a quote like this. You want to take the income early on. We could show you what the income looks like if you take it in the first 3 years. You want to wait 4 or 5 years. We've got, the latest story with the National Income Accelerator. So we could show you levelized income streams. But the flex forward benefit is what's a little bit different. And so hopefully you guys can see this. Let me blow this up. So I think sometimes the best way to learn how it works is just show you an example. So for somebody who's 63, you're sitting down, you're doing an analysis with them, and they say, well, geez, if I take my Social Security out today, if I start at age 63, it's going to pay me about $27,655. But what we want to do is we want to show them, look, you've got some retirement assets. If we can reposition $250,000 into a program like this Nassau Income Accelerator with this flex forward benefit, I think I might have a way in which I could solve a couple of problems for you. Number one, I think I'm going to be able to get you some income for the next 4 years, delay your Social Security, then age 67, your Social Security number is going to jump up to, and I'm just going to guesstimate this, but my assumptions it would jump to about $43,000 at age 67. So what we're doing is we're creating for them in this flex forward scenario, a couple of the inputs that you put in the software. Years to defer till rider exercise. I'm using 0. That means we're getting the income coming out right away. There's no wait whatsoever. And then the early income period is 4 years. Now, with our flex forward rider, you can choose between 1 and 8 years. You choose the amount of years you want to squeeze more monies out from the annuity contract. It's not a static set it and forget it. You're getting 5 years of payout, and then it's going to pay a reduced amount, and that's it. You choose. So if you only needed 2 years, you take 2 years. If you need 1 year, you take 1 year. You need seven, you take seven. You've got the flexibility. But in this example, for this person, right, we're paying them $27,665. We're paying that out over a 4 year stretch. By the way, that's a 10% over a 10% payout coming from the annuity contract, paying that out for 4 years. And then at age 67, the beginning of the fifth year, the annuity, it reduces down to $14,025. We'll pay that out each and every year for the person's life. But they have instituted or they have just turned on their full Social Security benefit at age 67, thereby creating a pretty big increase, as it pertains to lifetime income, which makes that pretty special. And then that software can help you get to this point with showing a person, I think there's a way in which I could help you retire now and increase your payouts.
I,
Yeah, and I go ahead, Brett.
I just, I want to underscore that this is such a big conversation starter, right? That's the purpose of all of this is that everyone in America needs Social Security and wants to know how to claim it, right? So it's one of the best and most effective marketing ins to an inroad to an annuity conversation or a retirement conversation or any conversation because every single person that you talk to is going to have to claim Social Security and wants to get the most out of it. So, this is an all applicable way in. And you can see here that this is a free tool that people pay 125, 150 bucks a month
Yeah,
for, where now you can show them income from an annuity on
yeah,
top of as a supplement to the Social Security. Because, like we were talking about earlier, Social Security is usually not covering all the bills and all the fun money as well.
yep,
So, this is just a great opportunity where it's such a smooth transition to an annuity conversation. And that's what we're trying to equip you with here is more inroads to that annuity conversation that aren't just, hey, do you want to talk about annuities? Because that
right,
usually doesn't work too well. And
right,
this is a great way to smoothly transition to, well, even if you don't know about annuities, you know about Social Security, and that's basically a lifetime income annuity,
right,
right? So let's
right.
talk about something else that's very similar. Boom, you put this in front of them, and it's going to be most of the time a great and easy conversation.
What I also like, Troy, is that I mean I've dabbled with the illustration tool, and I like that you guys give usually a maximum and minimum range in
Yep,
terms of what can that early income amount dollar be based on how
yep,
much premium they're putting into the product. So
yep,
you can reverse engineer some of the numbers if you're trying to hit if maybe you've done a report on the Social Security and you find out, hey, if you turned it on right now, it's going to be this much.
yep,
Then you're like not sure, well, how much premium do I have to actually put into the annuity to be
100,
able to spit out that exact dollar amount? You can
yep,
really mess with it and kind of put in different amounts and then narrow it down to figure out, okay, this is the exact target of amount of premium we need to put in to match exactly what my Social Security would have been doing for me anyways.
yeah.
Then I can defer that out and get more out of it by, delaying it by 4, 5, 8 years, whatever it is.
And in the tool here, you'll see maximum early amount, minimum early amount.
Yeah.
So, when we again, going back to the word flexibility and optionality, there's a lot of flexibility in this. And so that if they didn't need 27,600, they only needed 25, just take out 25 and then it's going to change this it will change the remaining number. And
Yep.
so a lot of ways you can sell this or utilize it. Another example, I love this example, by the way. And so with the NIA, so we created it for Social Security, right? That bridge idea, that concept, but then we started playing around with it. Well, why would somebody want to push more monies out from the annuity contract early on? There's a whole host of reasons. Maybe somebody's funding an insurance contract. Maybe they are, they're retiring early and they've got to pay for health care, or they're trying to pay off a mortgage or college education. I don't know. Maybe people just want to go away and go on vacation for 8 years straight, right? And then do something different. Maybe it's part of a strategy where, they're forcing as much money as they can out of the annuity carrier, getting to the insurance company's pocket, and then allowing another asset to grow, so that they can pull on that other asset at some point in the future. So this is just my last example on NIA, by the way. Age 62, husband and wife, they put $500,000 into this particular annuity contract. You'll notice here, I'm deferring 3 years. So I'm going to start pulling money out at age 65. The flex forward payout period is 8 years. So I'm going to go out as long as I can on 8 years to push as much money as I can out of the annuity contract. So at age 65, this couple who are 62, we start pushing over $50,000 out each and every year for an 8 year stretch. So 8 times 50 is 400,000.
They say it's 80% of what they put in already.
This is exactly where I'm going with this.
Boom.
This is exactly how Troy Briggs would think about how to potentially use a product like this. So $400,000 coming back to them, back to the couple, right? Over this 8 year stretch. They're 73 years of age at this point in time. So 400 grand comes out. We're still going to pay them after the 400 comes out, after that 50,000 for 8 years. We're still paying them $34,106 each and every year for the rest of this couple's life. Phil talked about longevity. If you've got a couple who's in their mid 60s, there's over an 80% chance that someone is going to live at the age 85 or older. And so longevity is definitely on a couple side. And so this is going to continue to pay out each and every year for the rest of their life. And this really is to getting into the insurance company's pocket, right? When you think about it. And so this is one way in which, people potentially could, I think, use the NIA. It just shows, I think, the flexibility behind the product. I don't know if you guys had anything to add to it, but
I
again, a lot
do.
of stuff that you
Yeah.
can do. Go ahead, Phil.
Troy, I want to applaud you for emphasizing this point about getting into the insurance company's pocket. I mean, let's be real, right? At the end of the day, everyone's always, when we think about these income benefiters that are generated out there or created by these insurance carriers, and granted, they're looking at how they can guarantee that money over time. They're actuarially also trying to time it so they're keeping themselves profitable. They can afford to offer these lifetime payouts. The one thing that's really significant about this is a lot of times that break-even point doesn't come to like year 15, 17, even 18
Right,
years out, right?
right. Yep,
What you're doing here is
yep,
really so unique because you think about a lot of these income benefit riders have like long-term care riders that
yep,
double their income. Well, we all know what ends up happening. When you
yep,
double that income, if it goes to zero, there is no doubler, right? You're just going to get what was already established as a lifetime payout. This, in a way, is an inverse of that. We're
yep,
saying, we're not going to gamble whether or not you're going to get that doubling benefit or increased benefit for long-term care, even though, hey, 70% of people end up needing it, some type of care anyway, we're going to make sure that we guarantee an enhancement on your income so
right.
that you can get most of that money back in your pocket. And it gives you the opportunity to defer that Social Security out as long as possible. I mean,
Yep.
this is like, I mean, think about concept, guys. This is a massive opportunity that no other income index annuity out there does it like this at all.
Right.
And like you said, most people like when you're wanting to do the fun extracurriculars activity stuff in your retirement,
Right.
what period of that lifespan is that going to be in? The
Yep.
early years. Like when I
Yeah.
first start retiring, that's when
Yeah.
I go out and spend more and travel and do some of those last bucket list things that I just didn't quite get done, because I was had kids and life and things like that. So you
Yeah.
could build this into a tangible story around, things that fun things that they wanted to do in retirement, not
Yeah.
just necessarily about just covering the bills, and doing things like that. So I
Yeah.
love the idea of where you can go with this.
And I'm stretching this out over an 8 year time period. If I squeeze this to 5, this number is probably more along the lines of 62,000, right?
Yep.
And that's a lot of money coming out. And then you still got the guarantee in place at the end of that 5 years that's going to pay out each and every year for the rest of their life. So it's just that we talk about longevity a lot, but this is really, helping out with that longevity protection idea that there are different ways in which we can structure things to help people. I know there's some questions. I don't know if you guys wanted to maybe see if there's something that we could help answer from the folks.
Yeah, I think we're fielding some in the Q&A section. Something that I wanted to add on that may prompt some questions as well. And forgive me if we kind of address this a little bit, but there's two ways that I see getting with this product, where one obviously is that you can use the early income, front load the income to make sure that you do defer your Social Security till at least your full retirement age, right? Because
Yep,
like Phil set the scene with at the beginning, that's the biggest mistake that we're seeing is they're 62 years old.
yep,
Maybe they're retired, maybe they're not, but they need that extra cash flow. And so they make the mistake of turning on Social Security.
yep,
This is the solution to that, where it's, hey, 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 pump the brakes on that
yep,
and let's get you some income for those 5 years that will bridge the gap so that you
yep,
can get 100% of your benefit. So that's the number one use I see for this. The front loaded income is there to bridge the gap to make sure you make it to full retirement age. But
right,
then let's say you're working with a 67-year-old that is at full retirement age and they're about to claim and they're about to get 100% of their benefit. This
yep,
can also be another type of bridge the gap principle where you're looking at their expenses, you're looking at what they want to do in their go-go years, their fun time, their
yep,
cruise money, their new car money,
yep,
and you could front load the income or just supplement the income to
yep,
bridge that gap. Say they
yep,
get 25K from Social Security but they need 40, let's
yep,
reverse engineer and see how we can get 15 at the same time. So we can get really creative with the way that we use this and combo starting Social Security before starting the Nassau income or using the Nassau income to get to where we can start Social Security.
yep,
So
yeah,
there's a lot of ways to get creative with this that a report showing the highest lifetime incomes out there might
yeah,
not show you. So
right,
these are the kinds of things that you should consult with us on, and that we can bring these ideas to you that otherwise might have just stayed in the pile and never come out.
Yeah,
So yeah, go ahead,
right,
Ricky.
I was going to make the point that we have that purpose-driven retirement discovery questionnaire that comes
yeah,
with Retirement Shield, our whole
yeah,
encompassing system that we have that you could be, presenting to a potential prospect and client, go through that questionnaire with them and get them to open up about all those fun things that they want to do in retirement. And as soon as they give you all that inside information, you're like, hey, well, what if I could show you a way where you could do that in the first 5 years or 8 years of your retirement? If I could show you a way to do that, whether you'd be interested, and then on your next meeting, you're just attaching every fun thing they said they wanted to do to this report, the thing that we just saw there, and it's associated with a product now and now that product is speaking to them so much more than it
right,
ever would have if you were just talking about numbers only, right?
right,
Yeah.
yep,
Right.
Yeah.
It's got to be
Love
a
that.
story. We
Yep.
we talk about this all the time within our retirement shield system that people connect with stories more than they do, a chart or a graph or numbers and things like that. And to me, I would take it one step further and say that people connect with a reason or a purpose for that money, like Ricky was just saying, a purpose-driven retirement, more than that number itself. Because $100,000 is great, and if I could tell you I could save you or make you $100,000, you're probably going to lean in. But if I can ascribe a meaning, a purpose to that $100,000, that's for Johnny's tuition, that's for that cruise around the world, that's for that new Jeep Grand Cherokee, whatever it is. If I can assign something to that money and give it sentimental, emotional connection to the client, that is where I've seen a lot of success with these kinds of things. And that's what this life yield tool and all of these things allow
yep,
you to do, is build a story. You're
right,
not just selling a product, you're not just maximizing Social Security, you're putting multiple pieces of the puzzle together to form a pretty picture. So
right,
show them that picture, tell them that story of that picture that you're building. Otherwise, they don't know all the work that you're doing in the background to build this plan and to protect their retirement. So use these tools as storytelling devices, because that is what connects with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad
I,
we're
I,
bringing up these tools. And these are all, by the way, all the benefits and features of what you get out of our Retirement Shield 360 system. I know Ricky mentioned it earlier. If you're wanting more details about that, I want to emphasize We've created a website here, producersengage.com, a dedicated website where it gives you a chance to not just watch our most recently recorded trainings like today's event, but also gives you a chance to, listen to previous events that we've done in the past. It also gives you a chance to submit an inquiry to get more details on like getting a NASA aging code. We actually have links here at the bottom, opportunity request form. They'll take you to this form right here that you'll fill out your first name, last name, best contact number, and one of our success coaches here, myself, Brett or Ricky, will reach out to you directly. Or if you want to schedule a demo, we have a link to actually schedule an appointment with us directly through a video call where we give you a peek behind the curtains of what that retirement shield 360 process looks like and how we use the NASA product, how we use the life yield to address the shields that a client's needs in retirement. Because this is just one of four shields that we address. Social Security and income is another one, taxes, long-term care, and volatility and estate planning are all part of that conversation. But today, it's all about how to max out that Social Security income. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure we share those links there in the chat. But yeah, any questions around this product? Concepts. I mean, we're just talking about what we like best about it. Troy, really appreciate your feedback and walking us through it. And a question about the software.
Yep.
Once you have a NASA agent number,
Yep.
you'll have immediate access, and or is it, what are the
Yeah.
steps?
Before you even even before you have an agent number, if you just register for the website, you will have access to run the software and to run a scenario and you could go in and watch the videos, by the way, before that even happens. You just need a number. You just need to register to run the reports because it costs us money, right? So, but you
Mhm.
can watch the videos for free without even putting in a username or a password. And
Wow.
like, and
Okay.
the highlight video will show you. I think that's what Ricky was driving to. Will show you just basically like how you can play with the numbers and watch the income go up and down and factor in layers and just watch that and play around with it. You'll find it's an eye opener. It factors in cost of living adjustments,
Ooh.
inflation. It factors all of that stuff in for you. So
Mhm.
if you're in your mid 50s, like me, I'm 54, and you're interested, okay, well, what's going to happen at age 67, right? In fact, like if you go to the website, you're going to get a number today. But when you put it into the software, it's factoring in cost of living adjustment. And so the
Mhm.
number that you get today is bigger. It's bigger 10 years from now, depending upon how old you are or what your situation is. And so it's really cool. It does a good job. It paints a picture for people that you're working with on how to take their Social Security. It's a great conversation starter. At the end of the day, that's what this thing's all about, right? So
Yeah.
Right,
that's enough.
right.
I don't mean to
So
get up on my on
no, we love the soapbox. We love
the
the
soapbox. Soapbox.
we
The
love it.
soapbox.
So just to clarify on the process of getting started, we would get them set up through
Yep.
Assurance Bay, Sure
Yes.
LC platform requesting Nassau Re, and then separately of that, they're going to salesnet.nfg
Yeah.
and they're going to hit that website registration.
Correct.
As soon as they do that, they have free access to Life Yield.
Correct.
So you can watch those videos beforehand to suss it out if it's worth the
Right.
$0.00. But
Right.
at the end of the day, this is free forever. This
Yep.
isn't a gotcha that you get it free for a year and then we're going to start
Right.
charging you either.
Right.
This is free forever. So
Yeah.
come take advantage of this because, like we were just saying, this is a great conversation starter.
Yeah.
We use it as one of the biggest hooks for seminar marketing, for lead generation, because again, like I said earlier, everybody needs Social Security and nobody is educated on it, unfortunately. That is a failure of our education system in our country, is that nobody knows how to find their full retirement age. Nobody knows that you can defer beyond that and get extra Social Security credits. Nobody knows the biggest downfall, which is how much pain they're putting themselves in when they claim early and just how much money they will lose out on. They think about, oh, it's, $300 a month less. Over the course of 10 years, that's an insane amount of money that they've lost out on, just because they didn't talk to someone like you or I and use the income accelerator to front load their income and get them to full retirement age. So don't let those clients that you're talking to right now fall into that trap. Don't let yourself fall into that trap and be the best story for your clients. But To sum up everything that we're saying here, what we're trying to do constantly is give you new ways into a conversation about things that are annuity adjacent that will help you get over to the annuity topic in a way where it makes sense to people, right? Because that's the other thing we're battling is the miseducation and undereducation on annuities. So you help them with Social Security, they understand that they've already kind of got an annual income in their mind, and that concept slides right over to a lifetime income annuity.
Yeah,
So
and by getting that contract with us here at Win Group, we have our Retirement Shield training hub where we give you access to playbooks that provide you with email templates, text message templates that are using the Social Security topic so that you could farm within your book of business to see if anybody's interested or has those type of concerns about those things. And then they're going to come back to you. And now you have a reporting tool you can present to them. You have a PowerPoint slide presentation around the Social Security Shield. If you want to be more dangerous in the way that you communicate about Social Security, we offer major discounts to become with NSSA, National Social Security Advisors. You could take a quick certification course, and in 1 to 2 weeks, you're the pro, the expert in knowing even more than maybe you know currently about Social Security. So whatever angle you're trying to come in from, or maybe what part of the process you feel like you're missing, you'll get that through the partnership with us here at Win Group and Retirement Shield. And then Troy Briggs and Nassau Re, they have all the solutions and the reporting tools that are going to help
Talk about
elevate what you're
wealth
doing in your
logic.
sales process. So yeah,
yeah. So a
yeah,
phrase that we haven't used that I think is obvious in this conversation is third party credibility. Sorry if I cut out there. I got a phone call. But third party credibility, right? And so this is one of many things, like Ricky was saying, that we give you that gives you that third party credibility. Because nothing helps close a deal like data that is not coming out of your mouth and handed to them from your hand. When that third party is saying this is the optimal claiming strategy, which is literally how it's phrased in Life Yield, they believe that more than when it's coming out of your mouth. So this is one of many, many things that we can give you free access to, a laundry list of things that give you third party credibility in your sales process, which I think is an absolute game changer. And again, these are software tools. These are things that people are paying hundreds of dollars a month for, thousands of dollars a year for, that you get free access to with the partnership of the Win Group. So I feel like it's a win-win, and maybe that's why they call us the Win Group. Who knows?
exactly. And then
But
Phil,
I think if there's no questions, I haven't seen
Yeah,
questions come in yet.
yeah, I'm
yeah.
winding
And
down.
I think we've done a great job of summing this tool up. So I say we get some people started.
Yeah, I think the next step, great way to transition there. Troy, really appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
This partnership's gone back almost nearly over a decade now, I believe,
Yep,
and
absolutely.
this is the strength of the partnership that we have with you, and we're going to continue hearing more about what NASA is doing. In fact, that NASA is going to be visiting us here in Seattle. You mentioned Seattle. We got the FIFA World Cup here in town, and we're strengthening the bond and relationship with NASA even further. Next week they'll be hanging out with us as well. So looking forward to that. And yeah, to fill out the form, we have the links out there. You mentioned Ricky. I'm so glad you brought that up. We'd have a partnership with the National Social Security Association advisors that provide a certification and designation to show that you've gone through the process of being certified as a Social Security expert. These are some of the benefits you get where we can actually have it covered and paid for through the business that you submit through the Win Group. So make sure to connect with us. Go to producersengage.com. Visit the links there to schedule a demo and also submit a form if you'd like for more details, and one of our team members here will be in touch. All right, guys, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedules. Looking forward to learning more about what we can do to help elevate your practice. And Troy, thanks for being with us again. Take care. Cheers.